All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Live. Wednesday night, January 25th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzo Gonzalez, joined by my dad, Tony Gonzalez. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Also, we have a special guest, owner and promoter from World's Finest Wrestling, Keith P. Miller. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going all right, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. I know you guys have a big show coming up this weekend. Is this weather coming in going to affect anything?
You know, I'm really not sure. I know Saturday's supposed to be pretty rough. So we're gonna have to look and see how it goes. Right now, we're planning on everything going the way it's supposed to go. We've already had some cancellations, though, so the lineup's a little bit different than it was when we initially announced it, but we can talk about that. It's still going to be an awesome show. It's a tag team focused event called Tag Team Turmoil. Initially, it was going to be a tournament, but now basically what it's going to be now is announced it, but we can talk about that. Five tag team matches and a fatal four-way for the AIWF TV title is what we're looking at now.
Dad, I'll let you go so I can do this real quick.
Okay. How you doing, Keith?
I'm hanging in there, man. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How long have you been a wrestling fan?
Oh, man. Well, so I started watching wrestling in 1977, 78. I'm 48 years old. So I was around 3-4 years old when I started watching it, picking it up on the antenna, in New York. I'm from upstate New York. So we used to catch WPIX, and they would show old AWA wrestling on there. And that was really the first wrestling I was exposed to was actually the AWA, which might seem kind of weird coming from New York, but the AWA was the first thing I ever watched back in the day.
At that time,
what's that?
Yeah, at that time it was mostly up New York and more WWF.
Right. Well, WPIX was a superstation, Channel 11 back in New York, and the AWA had a contract to air some of their stuff on their show. So, or on their channel. So the AWA was the first wrestling I ever got exposed to, really. My son needs me for just a second. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
Okay. Cool, man. Just wanted to see somebody's shoes on YouTube. So, but yeah, and then, obviously as I got older and WWF got a little more syndicated, we saw some WWF. And probably when I was about 8-9 years old, that's when I got really, really serious about wrestling, and started really, really following it. So that'd be like 85, 84, 85, 80, actually more like 82, 83. So right before the big WrestleMania happened. I mean, dude, honestly, I've seen pretty much every phase of pro wrestling, from like territories to the expansion to Attitude Era to where we are today. Been watching my whole life, so
that's how he is.
I'm almost 60, so I'm the same way. I even got the 70s in there too, so
sure.
So I understand.
He watches wrestling every day of the week.
Yep.
Nice, awesome. Man, nowadays I watch wrestling more to scout talent than I do as a fan, which sometimes I feel like, man, I should try to let myself enjoy it more, but I'll still watch old primetime wrestling and old territory stuff. I love the UWF and World Class and Southwest Championship Wrestling and stuff like that. So I'll go back and watch that stuff.
Daddy.
What, baby?
You're like a scout for wrestlers.
I am like a scout for wrestlers. He might be chiming in every once in a while. Sorry, I'm a single dad.
That's
So
okay.
he's here.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just got done watching last week. I watched and that's Chris seen some of it too. It's when Hogan won the championship, the night he won the championship from the Iron Sheik.
Oh yeah.
I watched the whole show back on the network. I think I was 84 if I remember right.
Yeah. I always say like my favorite era of wrestling is from January of 1984 when Hogan won the belt to December of 1994 when Vader and Ric Flair had that main event at Starrcade.
Yeah,
Like
that was really good.
everything in between that. That's my favorite stuff, man. So that's my favorite decade of wrestling, really. A lot of people who don't understand like what the expansion was like when Vince McMahon first started moving in, everybody went on the offensive. Like people didn't just immediately give up and give him their territories. People started going out and getting their own TV. You know, World Class had TV, UWF had TV, AWA was on ESPN. We used to catch Hawaiian wrestling sometimes, like Polynesian Championship Wrestling, I think it was, would air on FNN and MSG sometimes. Memphis had TV on FNN, which was national. Continental had TV. I mean, during the mid 80s, there was so much wrestling that you could just watch, you know, international world class championship wrestling. You would just stay up in the middle of the night and just find random wrestling at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was kind of, you know, just.
Yeah, we had the TBS, the Superstation, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and then turned into World Championship Class Wrestling, and had all that. Even had Mid South Wrestling on there also.
Yep.
So,
Up north, we didn't get TBS. I didn't actually get TBS until I was in high school, so that was like the early '90s. But I lived in Florida for a year and got to watch like Lex Luger debut with the Horsemen and some other cool stuff like that while I was living down in Florida. And before that, all I had ever seen was NWA in magazines.
Yeah.
And then Worldwide and Pro Wrestling This Week started, and I could kind of watch it. But yeah, we didn't get TBS up north until I was about 16, 15, maybe 14. Like, yeah, took a while.
Marcus Fine says, hello, Keith. He said, you're one of the first guys to use his photos.
Yeah. So I was the moderator. Apollo Star is one of my best friends. I've been friends with him since before either one of us were involved in wrestling. Known him for, I want to say about 25, 26 years now. So we've known each other a good long time. And I used to run the Apollo Star Yahoo group. Like, if you remember, there used to be wrestling groups that you would get emails from Yahoo about. People would just talk in the emails. So I ran the Apollo Star group, and Marcus took some really awesome pictures of Apollo at shows and stuff. So I would use those in our group. And it was really, really cool. Like, he was cool to let me do it. The funny thing is, I was at the TJ Kemp retirement show, and I walked past Marcus 4 or 5 times, and I was like, I know that guy from somewhere. But I didn't want to just walk up to him because I wasn't sure who he was. And I got home on Facebook and saw his pictures with TJ and stuff. And I was like, that was Marcus Fine. We could have met for the first time in person if I had actually gone up to him and said hi. I didn't realize I didn't put two together until I got home.
He does
so
commentary. He done commentary with us that day for one of the matches.
No, that was a good show, man. That was emotional, man. Yeah.
That was a good show.
I managed TJ for a little while. I don't know if you guys remember when TJ had a lawyer for a couple months, probably in 2014-ish. That was me. I look a lot different now. I was wearing a suit and had a briefcase and stuff, but
I was born that year.
Yeah, but yeah. It's actually probably around 2011, 2012 now that I think about it. But yeah, I was TJ Kemp's lawyer for a couple months. And I learned a lot from him, man. You can learn so much just from being around TJ and just watching how he deals with people and watching him put together wrestling and stuff. The guy has such a great mind, and he's a good dude, man. So I was glad I got to be there that night to watch him finish his career up.
Yeah, we go about every month. Usually, we've missed a couple months of me being sick or like some bookings on the same days or something. But we're usually there every month. Summit Pro always puts on a good show.
Yeah, it's awesome. We actually were out there for a little while, but I had to shut down because of some personal problems. So we shut down for about 10, 11 months. And TJ asked me if I could help him get in to the fairgrounds. And I gave him the number, and I gave the guy, told TJ that he could take our date, or told the guy that TJ could take our dates over. I was like, he'll be good with it. Go ahead and let him take our dates over as long as you're good with it. And it's worked well for him. So I'm glad, I'm glad I could help him get in there. I mean, I think he probably could have done it on his own, but having me already in the building and facilitating the conversation probably helped. Yeah.
How long have you been doing the World's Finest Wrestling?
Okay, so we ran a show in 2014 in Indianapolis that was called Step One, and that ended up being just kind of a one-off. And then we started running all the time in 2008 in Connersville. So aside from COVID, and then we took a couple months off because of some personal stuff with my kids. We've been running since June of 2008, pretty consistently in Connersville, and we also did a couple of shows. I think 3 shows out in Greenfield at the fairgrounds. So yeah, it's been what is that? 6 years? Going on 6 years this summer.
Okay.
So.
Have you ever competed in the ring?
Oh man. Okay, so once. Yeah, I got some training back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but honestly, it wasn't the best training. If you had asked me at the time, I would have told you that I was a trained pro wrestler, but I was not. So I got booked on an event in California, Pennsylvania for the Mega Wrestling Association. It was on TV. So it was kind of crazy. My first match was going to be on TV. I had my gear was terrible. I bought like an amateur singlet and put a Superman shirt underneath it. My gimmick was super sexy Keith Preston. I had shin guards and some windbreaker pants that my mom had sewed satin hearts on. I had some Asics wrestling shoes that I put the shin guards over top of. And I went out there and I had a tag team match, and it was a lot of fun, to be completely honest. But I got injured during training prior to the match. We were running some stuff, and I hurt my knees pretty bad. And then I was riding home with my trainer, and I was sore. My trainer, Vinny Ferrari, who's a great guy, he refs for us sometimes, and man, he's just a really, really good dude. But he was driving me home, and I was like, hey man, so I'm all beat to death, I've been up 6 o'clock in the morning. They tape 2 shows at a time, and I was doing commentary, interviewing people, and I wrestled. So I was involved with all of it. And I said to Vinny, hey man, so am I a wrestler now? And he goes, well, did you get paid? And little secret, sometimes you don't get paid for your first few matches. So I said, no, I didn't get paid. And he said, well, then you're not a wrestler. And I was home just in pain and thinking about it. And thankfully, I was doing commentary and production for Don Adams, who ran Penn York Wrestling. He was a conquistador in the WWE. He also worked for the WWE a little bit as Cowboy Don Adams. Had a pretty good career out in California before he moved to New York and Pennsylvania area. And he helped me learn promoting, which I've always been a creative guy. And I think that I'm not a very physical guy. So I was way better suited for the promotion aspect of it. And this was really at the very beginning of the internet. So he taught me a lot of stuff about like hitting the streets, getting flyers out there, contacting with local media, getting yourself known with the local businesses, and stuff that honestly running in a small town like Connersville really helps me. I still use the internet, obviously, but having those basics that Don taught me, which I think a lot of promoters nowadays don't have anymore. They just throw a freaking event page up on Facebook and pray that people come, but yeah, we get out there and we hit the streets, man, and we meet people and we flyer and we let people know about the event. And that's because of Don. He really taught me how to be a promoter. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the flyers are important. As you can see behind us, we got a lot of them that we hang up on the wall that events that we've go to that we've broadcasted from. But you're right. There's some events they don't have flyers. So
right,
like, man, I'd like to have a flyer because I like having a flyer just from every event I go watch.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, there was actually a guy. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but I'll just, as an example, there was a guy who was doing a benefit show here in Connersville, and he canceled the show probably a month before it was going to happen, but he hadn't done any advertising except internet advertising. And I think he didn't usually run in Connersville, so maybe when he ran in his hometown, he did more. But I don't think a single person knew about that show, and I think that's why he ended up canceling it.
I know we were actually going to be at that show.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
broadcast.
Okay. Yeah. He, man, nothing against the guy, but you can't run in a town like this without getting people in this town and letting people know. I gave him.
Yeah.
I contacted the people who we run through, and I was gonna let him run in our building, and he was gonna have a couple of our champs on the show and stuff. I mean, I did what I could, and honestly, if he had gotten me some flyers, I would have put some up for him, but he didn't even like.
Yeah, and he had a good card. He had a good card put together.
Oh yeah, he did for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. But he was worried about covering the building and the ring. I think most of the guys were volunteering their time, and I don't think he had enough interest where he didn't feel like he was going to be able to. So,
How long have you been a promoter?
So I promoted. You know what? I meant to say 2018 with World's Finest. I promoted my first event in 2008. So I mixed that up a little bit. I promoted my first event in 2008. There was a company in Wisconsin called Extreme Limit Wrestling, and I actually was a good friend with the guy who ran that company, and he let me do like an Indiana show, like an Indiana branch of Extreme Limit Wrestling, and we had Cody Hawk and Flash Flanagan in the main event. The Young Dragons wrestled the Soul Shooters. We had Sammy Callahan and CJ Otis. So I mean, if you think about 2008, like Kenneth James actually had one of his first matches in the pre-show match on that show. He was brand new. Sean Cook and Nick Cutler was brand new. Main Street Youth, Jake Oman and Adam Bueller wrestled American History Next, or X, sorry. Or no, it was Next. Steve Stone and Hardcore Craig. But it was just a really, really good show, and we had an awesome turnout. It was standing room only. We ran out of chairs. Like, there was so many people who came to that event, and I was just like, man, I made money on the event, which if you know anything about independent wrestling promotions, sometimes that's a rare occurrence. So I made money on my first event, and it was out at German Park. And we packed the place, man. It was fun. It was awesome. And from there, I just was like, I want to do this again. So, yeah, I've been doing it off and on ever since. World's Finest is definitely my longest running promotion and most success I've had. So I'm happy for World's Finest. Oh man,
do you have a favorite?
I'll say Marcus Fine said Kenneth James left his boots in the ring this past Saturday night in London.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh man,
I didn't know that either.
I'm gonna have to reach out to him. Jeez. Well, he had a great career.
I didn't know that either. I was gonna say we enjoy watching him.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, KJ's a good guy, freaking awesome wrestler. The funny thing is too, so I actually had him booked as a babyface on my event, or I mean as a heel on my event, and he was like, I need to be a babyface. He's like, I'm not good with riling up the fans and all that kind of stuff. Can I just? And now, man, like he spent the last 10 years of his career pissing people off, so man, I can't believe he.
Not even JKO. So I guess he done it at the end of that WCWO show, and nobody knew he was going to do it.
Wow, man, that's nuts.
He worked the main event with JKO.
Well, that's a good way for him to go out, man. Him and Kid have always been close.
He's supposed to be at that event.
He's supposed to be there.
He's supposed to be at that event, but I had the flu and I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah, I was sick a couple days ago. I was not feeling well at all, man. Like, I don't know what hit me, but I could barely move. I think it was.
Yeah.
Were we supposed to do our podcast and I couldn't make it, or was it a different one? I think it was somebody else. Yeah, but last Saturday, man, last Sunday, I couldn't do anything, man. I don't know what was going on, but
I like that for about 3 or 4 days about a week last week. I couldn't do nothing. I was in trouble.
Yeah, man. That's rough.
Do you have a favorite wrestler?
Growing up, yeah. Well, my favorite wrestler growing up was Ricky Steamboat. Definitely Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And I was a big fan of Lex Luger. And when I got older, into my teens-ish, and kind of started really, I don't know. I really liked Eddie Gilbert a lot, and Eddie Gilbert's still my favorite wrestler to this day. I think he was really underrated, and if you watch, there's no bad Eddie Gilbert matches. You know, he knew what he was doing. He was so good. And yeah, I think Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert really was more influential than people realize, as far as he brought the Southern style of wrestling up to the North, and created ECW. Honestly, before Paul Heyman took it over, he was the booker. He was the guy who brought that style, that brawling and the blood and the hardcore, if you will, to other parts of the country. So I love Eddie Gilbert, man. He was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Eddie Gilbert too. I've seen a lot of his stuff. Do you have a favorite match?
My favorite match is Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3. I was so invested in that whole story, man. When Savage came down with that bell, crushed Ricky Steamboat's larynx, and they did the vignette where he was trying to learn how to talk again, and the therapist wanted him to say E, and he kept holding his throat, going E, E. My little brother, to tease me, he's 2 years younger than me, kept walking up to me and holding his throat and going E, E, and we got in a fight, like, because he was making fun of Ricky Steamboat not being able to talk. Like, and that's how into that I was. I think I was about 12, 13. And then I ended up betting a friend of mine that Steamboat was going to win the match. And, of course, Steamboat won.
Why whenever you said 13, it showed 13 on there?
I don't know. That's pretty cool, though. But yeah, I had like a little WrestleMania party, and all my friends were over, and Steamboat won, and he was like, "I'd gladly give you this $10," and he gave me $10, and I was man, I was so happy. Like, it was literally, I just have such good memories of that match and everything leading up to it, and I feel like that's the most invested I've ever been in a wrestling match in my life. So
yeah. I still love pro wrestling. Like Chris said, I watch it all the time. I do miss the storytelling. There's not enough storytelling today.
I agree.
I really miss it, but it is what it is. Who
knows? I would not. Yeah, I think it's harder these days to get people to pay that much attention. It sucks, but it's just the society that we live in. Short attention.
WWE right now is doing pretty good with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn story. They're doing pretty good with it, and the fans seem to be following it pretty good.
I love that.
So I mean, but it's. I just wish there was more, and more feuds. I mean, there used to be feuds, like you said, the NWA. There used to be feuds that would last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, how long did Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes wrestle each other?
Yeah.
I mean, geez, man.
They may go away. They may go away from each other for 3 months and then come right back to it. I mean,
because man, they broke Dusty's leg. He's never gonna forgive that. He's always gonna be trying to get revenge for that.
Remember they did the when the Road Warriors turned and used a spike on his eye.
Yeah, spike on his eye, and then they cut the promo where Hawk licked the blood off his arm and stuck the spike in the podium, and he was like, "For those of you who don't think this is real," like, man, it was crazy.
I just read a story. I didn't know this, that Dusty Rhodes basically got fired for that because they did that on TV.
Yeah,
and the spike and everything. And Turner, whoever was running at the time, got upset, and so that's when Dusty left and went to the WWF.
I mean, I could see it because they did it like right there on Saturday night, right on television. Like,
During his freshman year, he received
yeah, and Hawk, like I said, he had blood down his forearm and he licked it off. Like,
he was quick to trans-
Yeah.
this
that was
his second option.
that was crazy, man. That was
What's been probably the hardest thing about the independent wrestling scene as a promoter?
Oh man, so sorry, I got to move a little bit because I got to plug my phone in. It's getting a little here, but
No problem.
so the reason that XLW Indiana, the reason that the branch didn't last as long as it was supposed to, was because of building issues. Dealing with buildings is one of the hardest things. That's one of the biggest challenges, man. Honestly, it gets easier the longer you do it, but you never know. A building can cancel on you any second. Like, it's crazy. They can just decide they'd rather do a bar mitzvah. I mean, and I always thought, a lot of times when people said there was building issues, that it was like an excuse. But man, I know now from experience, having building issues, that buildings can be difficult. We were running at a church here in town, and even though, we went to them, we told them we were a professional wrestling event, we explained there would be a wrestling ring set up and all these kinds of things. For whatever reason, they thought that we were amateur wrestling coaches teaching kids amateur wrestling. So we ran 2 events there, and they were like, they talked to the caretaker, who was the guy who we gave the money to go in and use their gym. And he goes, "Oh no, this is pro wrestling, like old Dick the Bruiser." And they called me and canceled the rest of our dates because they said that couldn't go on in their building. So it's just kind of crazy how you run across stuff like that, man. People, but yeah, getting buildings, securing buildings, staying in buildings is the hardest part. The rest of it, man, you can always adjust. Someone can't make it, there's somebody else, somebody, I mean, there's always wrestlers out there looking for work, so dealing with the wrestlers is pretty easy, honestly, especially in the internet age. You message people on Facebook, you can put a whole card together in an afternoon, which is crazy to think about it, but this used to be a phone call based business. You call people up on their phone. You have a phone full of numbers, and you call people up. Nowadays, you message people, you don't even ever have a conversation with them until they get to the event. But honestly, it's all worked out well. Dealing with the talent's the easiest part, honestly. So,
Marcus Fine said, "Hey Tony, we found someone else to talk old school."
Yeah, man. Yep,
I'm old school, no doubt about it.
Sure.
What? This is kind of 2 questions in one.
Okay.
What do you love about the wrestling business, and what do you dislike about the wrestling business?
Okay, so the thing that I love about the wrestling business is there's a couple things. Well, I love the camaraderie. I love coming together with a bunch of different people. We're all diverse and all have different ideas and putting something out there that everybody can enjoy. I love doing that. I love interacting with the fans. I love the reactions that we get from the fans. The things that are difficult, I mean, the buildings are the hardest part. I wish sometimes that the perception met the reality, because I think that people think of World's Finest as a pretty big independent promotion. We've got IWTV and that kind of thing. But honestly, like, I work in an air compressor plant, and my partner is works in a warehouse. So we're both like blue collar guys who have been wrestling fans their whole lives, and I was mentored by a guy who thankfully had a bunch of knowledge, and now I'm kind of mentoring him. But I wish that we were more big time, like, if that makes sense. People, I think that people see us as a lot bigger than we are, and hopefully someday we'll be that big, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't like I think it's changing. but you got to protect your brothers and sisters, but there's different ways to protect people. I don't like the whole idea of not speaking up and speaking out about things, but I think that that's changing a lot, you know. But then at the same time, I hate how people are so quick to cancel people, you know, drop of the hat. Like there's no inquiry, you know, it's just the court of public opinion. But overall, man, wrestling's way more positive for me than it is negative, you know. So
As I say, every promotion that we've went and worked with, we've all had a positive experience everywhere. We haven't really had no negative stuff really happen yet.
When you do get negative people involved, it's pretty easy to figure out who they are, you know, and you can weed them out, you know. I think as long as you keep your eyes open and you have the right people around you, good things happen, you know. So yeah.
One thing you would change about the business if you could.
Man, that's tough. Because I like, you know, I enjoy being in the wrestling business. Maybe more opportunities for everybody, even though I think there are opportunities for everybody. Like when I was a kid, there was a lot more national promotions, you know. Right now there's basically 2, kind of 3 if you want to count Impact. And back in the day, even like a company like World Class that was based out of Dallas would bring wrestlers in from all over the country and all over the world, and they were broadcast. At one point, they had the biggest syndicated television show in the country. Like no one was seen on syndication more than World Class Championship Wrestling, you know.
Yeah, they sold out. I mean, they didn't sell out, but they sold 30,000 or 40,000 seats at Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's crazy, you know, for what would be today considered an independent promotion, you know, not one of the big, not on a big cable network. I mean, they did get on ESPN later on, but even before that, when they just had their syndicated stuff, they were killing it, you know, and that kind of opportunity isn't there anymore. I mean, the internet and streaming does give people exposure, but the money's not there. You hear about how, like, back in the territory days, everybody was making money, you know. It's not necessarily the case anymore. So I wish that we could turn back the clock a little bit maybe and have more opportunities for everybody to be seen and everybody to grow and everybody to make a little money, you know. But
yeah, I'm excited to see MLW got a TV deal with Reels. So I'm excited to see how they do on Reels. Reels is a pretty decent network, and I'm excited to see how they do.
Yeah, I mean, they had that deal with was it beIN Sports that they were on?
They're still on beIN Sports on Saturday, but that network is so hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that in some ways streaming helps and in some ways it hurts. Because there's so many choices. You can get so much free stuff now. And you don't have to have like a cable subscription to watch wrestling at all. You know, you just like, I don't know. I have 500 channels on my Roku, and a couple hundred of them are wrestling. So you know, it's pretty.
Check how many you got.
Okay.
And I watch more wrestling on YouTube and streaming and stuff than I do on anything else. Especially since we started doing this, I started watching a lot more independent stuff.
Yeah, you can find anything on YouTube practically. I'm sure that if we wanted to, we could look up the spike in the eye thing on YouTube and find it. You know, I mean,
yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's all there, you know. So,
what you expecting a big crowd for this Saturday night?
I'm hoping, man. You know, the weather could play a part. Let's hope it doesn't. But yeah, I mean, we've been getting the word out, so we're hoping for a big crowd. Just see what happens. I mean, we've got the talent on the show, so yeah. Our first show back in Connorsville back in October, we had about 150 people there. but then that dropped down to about 65 on the second show, and I'm not really sure what happened. But we do kind of the same things every time, and just hope that people hear about us and come out. So I mean,
where was you running at before Connorsville?
well, we did the shows in Greenfield for a little while.
Greenfield. Okay.
Yeah, and then like I said, we had to shut down for about 10 months. So then we did our homecoming, our big show back in Connorsville. And
Greenfield is so fun.
yeah, Greenfield was fun, buddy. And the town was really excited, so I think that helped get a lot of people out there. We had people coming in from all over the place too. We've always had a big outside crowd. People come in from Ohio and Illinois and Michigan and Kentucky, which I always appreciate. And then we've got our core group of 25, 30 people from town who are there every time. What we're still trying to figure out is what we're still trying to figure out is what brings in the people from outside. I mean, because I know that our local fans are going to be there. They're really loyal and they're always there, so that's awesome, and I appreciate them. But yeah, we're still trying to figure out after 6 years how to consistently get the people from outside of Connorsville to come in all the time. So
Marcus Fine said, yes, several Spike and I on YouTube. I just looked it up.
Yeah, man. Awesome. I'll have to check it out before to see if my memory is as good, like if I'm remembering it the way it happened. Like, I'll have to check it out.
People you would like to work with that you haven't had the opportunity to yet.
Oh man. So Carson Drake, I think that kid has all the talent in the world. He's good.
We're big Carson Drake. We're big Carson Drake fans.
Yeah, Carson Drake is awesome. Love that kid, man. I mean, I don't know him at all. I just love watching his work. I've heard really good things about him. I'd love to get him into World's Finest sometime. Kenzie James, who's actually going to be coming in July. I think she's probably the top lady wrestler in the area right now. I really do, man. I mean, I know that's saying a lot with Billy Starks and people like that. Maybe I should say the top up and coming lady wrestler in the area. But Kenzie's good, man. She's got a great physique. She's physical. She's athletic. And just seems like she gets it, So I can't wait to get her in to work with her. Trying to think who else, man. I'm lucky that a lot of times when I do reach out to people, they end up coming in. So I get a chance to work with a lot of people who I have worked with. But Carson Drake and Kenzie are definitely probably on the top of the list. Gaston LaRue is going to be here this Saturday, and I've been looking forward to having him on an event for a while. So yeah, it'll be good to have Gaston on. I've never worked with him before either. So
he's a good talent as well.
Yeah, good talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good gimmick. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like Gaston gets it. There's some kids who understand wrestling, and you can just tell that they understand not just how to get in the ring and do moves, but actually the whole picture of wrestling. And I think Gaston's one of those kids. I think Carson Drake is one of those kids. Kenzie's definitely one of those kids. So
speaking of people who get it, there's a Hollywood House.
Yeah,
just chimed in. I don't know if you've met Hollywood, but he's a manager out there, and he definitely gets it. The wrestling.
Yeah, I haven't met him. We've been friends on Facebook for a while. I see posts and stuff.
We appreciate you joining us, Hollywood.
But yeah, I've never actually met him. I know they use him out at Merge, and he does pretty good out there. I know that. So
yeah, he's got some big things. I think he's going to be working behind the scenes at is it something 6?
Destination
6. Yeah.
He's going to be working behind the scenes there and doing some stuff. So he's doing fantastic. So.
Right on. That's out in Illinois near Cincinnati or near St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And Marcus Fine said his sign guy referee in the Kenzie match.
So Sign Guy and I made a deal where he is going to be the official for our first ever ladies tournament where we're going to crown the ladies champion. So it's possible. I don't know if I'm going to bring in a second referee or just let him ref the whole night.
Daddy. When's Steph Curry's haircut?
Destination 6 is in Macomb, Illinois.
Okay, right.
Hollywood House just
Cool. Yeah, I know some people out that way that live near St. Louis, and I thought they said it was like in their area. So yeah.
Which one do you think?
Favorite match and show you have promoted?
Okay, so my favorite match. Geez, that's tough. Up until recently, I would have said Apollo Star and Shane Mercer. Back when Mercer was getting all that press for swinging that bench around, we brought him in, and man, that show drew. And Apollo and Mercer just tore it up. It was freaking special, man. It was a great match. But I was trying to think. Fenrir
another
Ragnarok.
real talented manager.
Yep.
Another talented manager, Jordan Bell. Have you worked with him?
I have not. No, honestly,
Marvelous Mr. Bell. He's another real talented manager in the area.
Yeah, fantastic.
Hey, can I guess which one's the most current haircut? It would be that, but you just got one.
Okay, that one.
This one?
Yeah. All right. Sorry, my son asked me about Steph Curry's haircut. Yeah. But Fenrir Ragnarok and Devin Quinn had a match on our homecoming event back in October that was amazing, so good. And Big Mama and Logan Vitor had a match right after that was just as good. Like, I mean, those two matches back to back on that event really blew my mind. So it's hard to tell what my favorite match is, honestly. I loved both of those matches. All three of those matches. Sammy Callahan and CJ Otis on the first event that I ever promoted was amazing. So good. So yeah, and man, my favorite event is probably Come Out and Play. We had Raven, and so I love Raven. I've been a fan of Raven since I was a kid, and getting to actually talk to him and talk to him about old school wrestling, and the crowd was awesome, and so yeah, having Raven come out and play was is probably my favorite event, so.
This is the dad.
Best decision and worst decision you've made in the wrestling business?
Look, that's his newest haircut.
Oh, nice, buddy. So my best decision, honestly, was putting my faith in Jordan Dye. When Jordan and I met, he was working smaller shows in Ohio and Indiana. He was honestly thinking about hanging it up, and I just thought that he had something, and that given the right platform, he could show it to people. So I put him in our title tournament, and he beat Cody Hawk in the first round, beat Donnie Idol in the second round, and then lost in the finals to Apollo. And from there, his career really took off. He started going all over the place, and I continued to put him in with top talent. Like he wrestled Josh Crane for me. He wrestled Raven for me. So yeah, really just getting behind Jordan Dye and helping him get to where he is now was probably the best decision that I've ever made. That, and honestly, bringing in my partner Tevin Harvey. Like, I've had several partners in the past and it's never worked out. But I've got a really solid partner now. So having somebody who helps you run things and take some of the worry out of it all is good, The worst decision I ever made, I can't really talk about it on the podcast. But it was allowing myself to be manipulated by talent who didn't have my best interest at heart, let's just say. Who didn't have the best interest of my company or the best interest of myself at heart. And I don't want to name.
I get that. I get that because I mean, talent has egos and they worry about themselves. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm sure there's talent out there who could care less about some promotions. They're worried about getting their name out there and making money or doing whatever. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's like that because they're not. I mean, there's a lot of great talent. Most people's nothing but respectful to us, and
Absolutely.
you know, so I'm not naming any names or pointing any, but I'm sure that there's people that they're worried about themselves.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, you can worry about yourself. You know, I mean, this is a business. Like, you're supposed to be there to make money, but when I am going out of my way to accommodate you, and you are still saying negative things about me,
Yeah.
I don't understand what the point of that is. You know, I don't get it. Like, so, and that was the scenario. You know,
Well, on the other end of that, to be fair, there's promoters out there that don't care nothing about their, but about themselves too. I mean, they're worried about getting their money back, and I understand that too. You're putting money up and putting on a show. They want to get their money back. We haven't had a bad experience to us, but we went to a promotion that promoter was horrible. I mean, just a horrible. He's no longer around.
Okay.
I mean, not treated us bad, but we seen what was going on with the
business side
of the fans, the other wrestlers. It was just horrible.
Yeah,
and we never went back. But it was nothing that we dealt with.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Man. So this just made me think about something, and I hate to say this, but something that I can talk about that I regret was I was the guy who allowed Tyler Kent to get into the wrestling business.
That all fits together because that's who I was talking about.
I figured. You know what's funny? I figured we needed a ring announcer, and I had Tyler ring announce for me. And for a while, Apollo and I were both sort of mentoring him and kind of trying to help him navigate the business. Obviously, neither one of us knew where that was going to end up, you know, how that was all going to turn out.
Well, I know other good people that's trying to help him too.
Yeah. So I wish that I had just left him alone and let him do his podcasts, you know, and be a fan. But yeah, you see where it went, man. I mean, yeah. So back about 10, 11 years ago, we needed a ring announcer for Pro Wrestling Elite, and that was actually how he got involved in wrestling other than just being a fan. So yeah, I was kind of responsible for that, unfortunately.
You're the blame. No.
I'm the blame. Anybody wants to blame me for Tyler Kent, I guess it's me. Yeah, I guess I'm the guy. But yeah.
How's your experience been working with wrestling talent, especially like some of the big names? Like you said, you had Raven and some of those type people. How's that experience been?
Well, the two biggest names that I've ever had, were Raven and Jamie Dundee. Raven was awesome, honestly. There were some small things, like he was supposed to wrestle and he couldn't wrestle because he had just had a stent put in, and he didn't tell me about it till he got to the show. So he ended up doing a couple little things and managing that night. But he still interacted with Jordan and you know, did the stuff that I needed him to do. You know, he still definitely did his job. So it all worked out. Jamie Dundee was interesting. I would get calls in the middle of the night from Jamie Dundee asking me for more money right before the show, you know? Like, hey, brother, man, I know you got me coming in, and I'm going to be driving up all the way from Kentucky, and could you add a little, like maybe $20 more onto that for me there, brother, onto that payday? You know, I'm sure, man. You know, like, but yeah, Jamie Dundee was interesting to deal with. He had the referee disqualify his opponent while he was pinning him because he had hit him with a cowbell, and the referee didn't see it, but he was bleeding, so he pointed out the blood, and the referee disqualified him, which was not what I wanted to happen. So, man, but at the end of the day, like, you get what you expect. Jamie Dundee's a character, man. You know, so and one other thing too, like, he's back there bleeding to death, man. I came back there, he's washing all this blood out in the sink, and I was like, "Hey, are you doing all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, brother. Do you got my money? Do you got my payday? I gotta get going. I gotta go home." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, and I gave it to him, and he gave me a hug. He took the money and stayed for the whole night. So I'm pretty sure that he was asking me for his pay to make sure that he got it, because he wasn't going nowhere, man. He stayed for the whole night, talking to the locker room, and, like, you know, yeah. But he was wrestling. It's funny because I don't really have Raven stories, because Raven was cool. We just talked about old school wrestling, and, like, but the one time that I had Jamie Dundee in, man, it was just hilarious. Like, he was wrestling Marcus Houston that night, and Mark was very, very green, man. He had just gotten started, maybe a little less than a year, I think, and he told Jamie Dundee, I'm so honored to be wrestling you. This is the second biggest match I've ever had. And, Jamie Dundee was like, "Oh, man, I've been to WrestleMania, wrestled the Road Warriors. Who else you wrestled bigger than me?" And he's like, "Well, I wrestled Danny Basham." And he was like, "Oh, Doogie Basham and Danny Basham, they're not bigger than Jamie Dundee." And the whole rest of the night, man, he's just talking crap about Basham. And then American History Next came in, and they were two bald, like, jacked guys. So I was like, "Oh, man, the Basham brothers are here." He's like, "Basham brothers, yeah." And then it was American History Next. So he starts laughing. He's like, "Oh, Doogie and Danny Basham." And he's like, so it was funny, man. It was funny stuff, dude. But yeah, Jamie Dundee was a character. No.
Oh, you want to talk some about the card that you have for Saturday night?
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
You want to talk some about the card?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, huh? So the main event is Jordan Dye and Dylan Cole, who are our current world's finest champion and our current junior heavyweight champion, and they're going to be wrestling Dax Knight, who, I mean, Dax has been around for a long time. He started wrestling when he was 15. I think at this point he's been wrestling like 12 years, but he had a really, really good year last year, and he's really starting to get some momentum behind him. And he's teaming up with Jacob Rose. And so that's the main event, is Jake Rose and Dax Knight against Jordan Dye and Dylan Cole. And we've also got the Black Cube Society, who are our tag team champions, wrestling the So Icy Boys, T.Y. Ice and Avery Hurst. And Avery Hurst and T.Y. Ice have come really, really close a couple times to winning the tag belts. They just haven't been able to get it done. And we had a contract signing where Dylan Cole represented Black Cube and T.Y. represented the Icy Boys. And Dylan Cole made some changes to the contract, and T.Y. just signed it without looking at it. He just wanted to get his hands on the Black Cube. So one of the things that Dylan changed is he's going to be the special guest ref for the match, which is going to make it a lot harder for the Icy Boys to win, for sure. Like, when a member of Black Cube Society is reffing the match. Let's see, what else do we got? We got Johnny Cisco and Bryant Huff with Rondy Rush representing Rush Wrestling Enterprises, and they're going to be wrestling Apollo Star and Cassius Star. I believe that's the first time that the father and son have teamed up. So that's going to be good. We've got the four-way for the AIWF TV title, which is Gaston LaRue, Damon Jackson. Yeah, I will in a second, buddy. Damon Jackson, Tyler Scott, and a guy named Tripp, who used to go as the Madness of Tripp. He's a 16-year veteran from Buffalo. He's wrestled up in New York for a while now, and we're bringing him down, and that should be good. We got the Bruisers and Shield Wall. Just two of the most physical teams in Indiana. They're just going to beat the crap out of each other. I think it's going to be fun to watch those guys beat each other up. Let's see, what else do we got going on? I got the card right here, so I'm just going to – and the Mayhem Militia and the 8-Bit Punks, which is the Mayhem Militia are a new team. It's Mikael Murphy and the Renegade Warrior Stetson Winners, and they're going to be wrestling one of the most veteran teams in the area in the Game Boy, Aaron Anarchy, and the King of the Arcade, Damian Cole. So that should be interesting too.
Got a talent right here. Dutch Boy Platinum said, "Get Dutch Boy Platinum in there."
Let's do that, man. Yeah, we can talk. Hit me up.
Have you ever seen Dutch Boy?
I have not.
Great young talent.
Yeah.
One of the best out there.
Yeah, awesome. I'll check him out. I believe we're friends on Facebook. I'm friends with so many people in the area on Facebook, just so I can try to keep up on everything that's going on. But I don't always catch everybody, you know. So
I'd recommend any promotion to book Dutch Boy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give him a look, man, for sure.
He's really good.
I will give him a look.
You're a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
Wow. Okay. Oh man. Hulk Hogan.
I know.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. Ric Flair.
Oh yeah, so listen, I kind of want to hear yours.
Steve Austin. And The Rock, I guess. I don't know, man.
That's a good one.
I got 3 out of the 4 there. The only one I added instead of The Rock, I had Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah, Dusty could be on there. Harley Race could be on there.
There's a lot. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. The thing about The Rock is he only had like a 5-year career, but he was so impactful. You know, the attention that he brought to pro wrestling, he kind of put it back in the public eye to an extent. You know, so big crossover talent. I mean, it's tough, but
do you have a date for when your next show is going to be?
Yeah, March 25th. We'll be back March 25th. February 18th, we're going to be taking part in a big art festival here in Connersville.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're doing 3 wrestling matches, and there's going to be an art show, and they're going to show short films. There's going to be like an award for the best one, and there's also going to be a drag show. And then in between that, there'll be 3 wrestling matches kind of connected into what's going on at the event. So it should be fun. Those kinds of things seem like they're getting pretty popular these days, so it'll be cool to be a part of it.
Yeah. Any type of match you haven't promoted yet that you would like to do?
Man, honestly, I would love to do some old school stuff like a bunkhouse match or a Texas bull rope match or even like an Indian strap match. I guess you couldn't call it a Native American strap match. I guess you'd call it now. But yeah, anything like that, man. Last man standing. You know, I love those old stuff. I actually had an idea to do a hardcore tournament where all the stipulations were old school stipulations. And then the main event just be a no DQ, false count anywhere, no holds barred type deal. But like have the first round be Texas bull rope. I don't know. I just thought that would be a fun thing to try, and I still might at some point. You never know.
Mr. Jones is a huge Hulk Hogan fan. If anybody has followed Mr. Jones, he's a huge Hulk Hogan fan.
Yeah, right on, man. I mean, you can't, growing up when I did, it's like Hulk Hogan. They were the guys. So,
yep.
Dream talent and match you would love to book.
Oh man, currently or just
you do both.
Just in the universe. Man, Ricky Steamboat and Vader. I don't know if they ever wrestle each other, but Ricky Steamboat is the ultimate good guy, and Vader was the ultimate bad guy, as far as I'm concerned. So the two of them, and it would be an interesting contrast of styles. You know, I think that would have been a fun match to watch. I'm gonna have to see if they ever wrestle each other, because if they didn't, that's money on the table. No, you know.
Did you see Steamboat's match here a couple months ago?
I didn't, but I saw he came back and had another one.
It was fantastic.
And he was good shape.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure. She was robbed. Nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Bell.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Mr. Jones is not. I said he was a huge Hogan fan. I don't think he's really a huge Hogan fan.
I got you. I couldn't tell if it was sarcasm or if he actually was, but now I see. Yeah.
Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Jones. He's got so many names.
He does have different names.
It's hard to get. It said Jones up there. I'll call him Mr.
Yeah,
Jones.
G. Jones on the screen. Yeah. Oh man.
What's bell time for this Saturday?
So, actually, the tag team championships are on the line, but nothing else is. Because of the tag team turmoil stuff. It's all tag team matches. You know, I did want to say something too that kind of slipped my mind. It's kind of a sad irony in a way that we're running our tag team turmoil event right after Jay Briscoe passed. We're doing an event that has 5 tag team matches, 1 fatal 4-way, no singles matches. Right after Jay Briscoe passed, and Jay was one of the innovators of independent pro wrestling and independent tag team wrestling. And so we're gonna do a little salute to him, like a 10 bell, and it's just weird timing, you know. That yeah. There aren't names, there are personalities. I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, I get it. So he's saying he's crazy. Got it. I was confused for a second. I was like, what are you talking about?
I love Curry Bell.
I'm telling Mr. Bell, if you ever get the opportunity to book Mr. Bell, you won't be sorry.
All right, right on, man.
Right. What time's your show on Saturday? Your doors open and bell time.
Doors open 6:30. Bell time is 7:30. Tickets are $10. General admission. Yep, tickets are $10 general admission. And that's something that I've talked about a few times too. Like, I see events in the area raising their prices and doing different tiers for front row and tiers for general admission and things like that. And you know, I've tried really, really hard, despite inflation just being crazy, to keep World's Finest tickets at $10. I know it's tough, you know, and I know that, you know, getting to come out and have a good solid 2 hours, 2.5 hours of entertainment, paying $10 for it. I mean, it's something that I'm going to do my best to always be able to do, you know? So I do want to say that if the weather does end up, we cancel the event in February, we will reschedule it for the last Saturday in February. Just because I mean, there is supposed to be a pretty bad storm coming in Saturday. So
really, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, at least in Fayette County, like a mix of rain and snow, and then it's supposed to turn into ice. And I mean, right
south of us.
Yeah, we're in Fayette County, so we're down south. So yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. We'll see if it actually happens. Like this storm that happened today wasn't really much of anything. So yeah. So we'll just see. I mean, but I want people to be safe, you know. I want people to be able to come out and have a good time, but I also don't want people to be coming to our event, you know, and sliding off the road and risking their life for wrestling. So yeah, if something happens with the weather and we do end up having to cancel, we'll reschedule for the last Saturday in February.
Oh, that's cool. You already have a date. If you do have to
postpone. Yeah, because the weather this week is just looking bad, you know. So we want to make sure that, you know, we've got a backup plan just in case. So,
was there anything else that you want to talk about the show that we hadn't touched?
No, I mean, just, one of the greatest things about independent wrestling, which you guys know from being out at events, is you get to actually interact with the wrestlers. You get to talk to them and meet them and buy merch from them, and you almost get to know them on a personal level, as well as seeing the personality up there in the ring. And if you haven't been to an independent wrestling event, World's Finest Wrestling is a great one to come to. We're very family friendly. We have a lot of kids in our audience, and we take our responsibility to the community really, really, really strongly.
It's not showing what degree it is. It's just the snow tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna snow tomorrow, buddy. So yeah, apparently it's gonna snow tomorrow too. But yeah, come on out to WFW. Hopefully you can make it this Saturday. If you can't make it this Saturday, we run the last Saturday of every month at the Boys and Girls Club in Connersville from January until October. Except for this February, we got this art show deal, so we'll be doing that. But
can I draw?
Yeah, we'll have to get down there and check out the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Please come on down.
I'll make it a
for
picture
sure.
for you.
You got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Well, you can check us out on Facebook. We have a fan page and a like page. We have a fan group and a like page. So yeah, if you want to just look for World's Finest Wrestling with an apostrophe S, because there's a World's Finest Wrestling with no apostrophe in New York, apparently. But we were first. So yeah, just you can look us up on Facebook and check us out. I mean, that's about all I got, man. We're on IWTV. All of our events, except for one, are up on IWTV. So you can subscribe to IWTV and watch WFW on there. That's about it, man. Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather's good for you and you guys have a great show.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, you're welcome to come on anytime. Yep. And when you're having shows, message me the flyer, and I'll help advertise it on our social media pages and stuff as well.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man. Thanks. Yeah, this was a good time. I liked just having a conversation. We didn't just come on here and plug the show, even though I'm good at that too. We, it was cool to come on here and talk about wrestling. It was fun.
All right, like I said, you're welcome to come back again, and we appreciate your time.
All right, thank you so much, man.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
All right, then before we end the live stream, I want to let everybody know. Don't forget Saturday night. We're going to be doing a watch along for the Royal Rumble. Watch along for the Royal Rumble. Getting all twisted here, but 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find it at Gonzo Sports Room, at All Sports All Plays Network, and at Unscripted, all on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Basically all our social media. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Saturday night. So join us for that. Plus, don't forget tonight, GSR Gonzo Sports Room, 11 p.m. Eastern. Again, I want to thank Keith for coming on. I thought it was a great conversation.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I didn't know a lot about his promotion, didn't know a lot about him, so we learned a lot, and hopefully the fans out there did too. Hopefully some fans will go out there and check out the show.
Yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys. We're working on some other interviews. I'll be putting out some dates on some graphics on those as soon as I can get them confirmed. But like I said, Saturday night we'll be doing the watch party and the live reaction for Royal Rumble.
Hopefully soon we'll have our award show with Mr.
Oh yeah, we'll be having that probably next week or two.
Yep.
So just follow us on social media, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next time here on G.W.R.